We are about to begin our session for today, so I'm just waiting for the channel to start buffering and we should be good to go. So, welcome everybody to the kickoff or the welcome message for the Hack for Good event that we organized together with the Angular team. So I'm pretty sure you all already know about our website, which is ngns.org. So you can definitely go there and find us there. Welcome everybody. And so let me just go through a bunch of things that are important for this specific event. So first thing, it's basically the agenda or the timelines of the event. So right now we are in the moment that we kicking off, and pretty much the idea is that in the next 4 days you would go and build a mobile application for Android and iOS using Angular and NativeScript, and then within the next 72 hours you would come back and submit your project. So probably like if you go to the website of NGNS and then you go to the agenda, those timelines should actually be showing the exact dates and times in your local time zone. So that definitely can be very, very helpful. So hope like right now, like I think around like Europe and maybe Africa, most people will be just waking up and ready to go, and then we'll do another of those like welcome messages like in 9 hours to for people like around like North and South America, because obviously there's not that many crazy people that will probably wake up at like 3 or 4 a.m. To just join a welcome message from Sebastian. So like I said, we will be basically starting now, spend about 72 hours to go and build an application, and basically at the end of that, you should be submitting some sort of a project, and I'll go back to the submissions a bit later, and then we will start like looking at and reviewing your applications, and it'll probably take us a few days because I'm expecting a lot of amazing projects to see. So probably like a few days later we'll be able to tell you who we think won in each category, and we'll probably be announcing it at Angular Connect, so it's pretty awesome. So project ideas. So some of you that you were registering, you indicated that you already had your own idea. So if you already have a project that you were interested, or you were already working with a pre-existing charity, it doesn't have to be even a global name. It could be a tiny charity of like one person maybe running it, to a charity that employs 100,000 people. The end goal is to do something that is, helping the world to be a better place. So it's totally fine to bring in your project and work on it, and even like sharing with other people. That's definitely great. But if you don't have an idea, we have 5 pretty cool NGOs that we talk to, and let me share each of those. So one of the first things first, the first candidate is like SOS Children Villages. But one thing I want to just point to you, so for each of the ideas we have created a Trello board. So if you just go to bit.ly/hack-idea-1, then you will be redirected to a Trello board. And we have basically for all 5 ideas, you just have number 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't jump on it just yet. Just let me explain a little bit about maybe each of them. and then you'll be able to kind of see it for yourself. And the idea is that you should go to the Trello board and then probably clone it, and then you can actually also use it as part of organizing yourself and organizing the team. Or if you just work in alone, that's also perfectly fine. But the Trello board, if you clone it, it could definitely help you work on the ideas. So the first NGO that we're looking at is SOS Villages. This is a pretty cool charity because it's like they have those little villages for that they usually, like, there'll be a town and then they'll have this little it's actually literally a village where they have like a bunch of buildings and various facilities where orphan children can live and can get like a proper care. And they also have like a second type of service for maybe kids that, like, their parents could be going through some difficulties. Like maybe there's like just a single mother and like she needs to go to hospital for some treatment and stuff, and then the kid has to be stay somewhere for that duration and have somebody to look after the kid. So they also like do it in villages. So when I talked to them from SOS Villages, they basically said that they have this system where the carers they will go and make an assessment with various families, or like when talking to children, and the assessment form, like, you ask anything from like about the health status, about like any whether there's any difficulties with learning, whether there's any threat, or if like, do the kids feel safe or families feel safe, and this kind of assessment can take over an hour very very easily. The thing is that the form itself, like yeah, at the moment, like there would be, let's say, filling it up by just writing, like, oh, like if you have an issue or something, you write in text. But the thing is that the carers will often interact with people that are illiterate. So we are looking at a situation where, in order for the person that you're filling up the form with to understand you, they actually go more with images. So and then I'll actually jump to the Trello board that kind of shows it, and this is the kind of thing where and you'll be able to actually read up more about it. But yeah, you have like an intro where you have all the images, and then this will be an example of an assessment form where they actually would draw images. So like if somebody has a problem because, I don't know, like the local well is broken, so they would actually draw like a local well, and then like there will be an image of a broken one, and then like for different problems they could have drawn images. So basically the idea is that they asked, could we, or some of the teams, look into it and say help them build a form that would be images driven, which could be quite cool. So you can definitely read more about it. Like, we have a bunch of examples. There's also an idea around, well, could we help them build like an app where there will be a map that would show on the map which families or which kids are located where, in case the carer has to like walk around and like, oh, maybe I could pay a visit to this person. There's no backend that we have available, so obviously it could be something that you could spin like your own backend, create some like sample data, and then get it going. Next one is the Disability Foundation. So this is a very little charity. Actually, yeah. So sorry. So the SOS Villages is actually a charity of like 35,000 people working. So it's a pretty huge one, and it's pretty well established. The Disability Foundation is like a very small charity, so it's like on the other spectrum, but they help people to kind of like connect with various carers. So they're basically looking at an app that could help patients to book appointments. And the key factor here is that often the patients might be like might build something that is more accessible and easier to use for elderly. And the idea is that they would go to an app and then say like, well, I need this kind of treatment and on this date, so there should be some sort of calendar, and then there will be an options of time slots that they could book it. And then on the other side, the second type of user would be a therapist that could come over and say, okay, so I have sessions for this and this and this hours, which basically are the slot that the patients would be able to book. So that'll be pretty cool one for you to experiment. And you also have all sort of different scenarios or maybe some sort of data that you would need for different things. You can use that. It can definitely be very, very helpful. The next one is Tutor, and that basically is a charity that helps people. I think that was like a specific type of cancer in Italy, and they looking for an app that's for like patients care day-to-day management. So this is more like a for self-report on their status, etc. And then it's good to like knowing like what is their current status they can share with the doctors, and then over time you should be able to see their progress and then how well they're responding to maybe the drugs that they've been prescribed, or maybe some exercises that they're working on. So that's like the next one. Beyond Sport is another NGO that's from Bulgaria, where basically the idea is to help people find access to basically strengthening local communities and helping them co-organize or like find ways to organize sports activities, and it could be something that is like very simple to like even more complicated tournaments. But the idea is like, yeah, how can we help people in like each particular area to kind of like self-organize themselves. So I think this will be like more of like, hey, can we build like a Facebook type application, but for people to organize sports events for themselves. Which I think that's a pretty awesome idea. And the final NGO and some of the ideas that we have, and obviously I'm jumping over, like I'm not giving you 100% detailed introduction to each of those. You still should come back here and read about them. So the final one is Sci-Hi, which is another organization that their idea is to help organize like a science events for high school students between like the age 30 to 18. So they kind of like want an app that would help them with preparation of organizing each event. So like maybe the students will come and then propose ideas, and then maybe there could be some voting on what kind of idea comes in, etc., etc. So that could be a pretty cool app to work on. And yeah, definitely read more about like the mission and then different scenarios, and have a look at the resources before you decide which one you want to pick and how you want to build it. So yeah, we went through SOS villages. So again, you could just jump to the bit.ly link /hack.idea.1. The Disability Foundation is Hack Idea 2. Tutor is Hack Idea 3. Then we have Beyond Sports, that's Hack Idea number 4. And then you have Sci-Hi, which is Hack Idea 5. So you should have access to all those Trello boards. So I kind of like I send emails to a lot of you a few times already. But yeah, if you're not on a Slack channel yet, you should definitely join in, because we'll have some mentors watching the channel. And if you have any questions, or if you're struggling with anything, or even if you have more questions around some of those ideas or some of the NGOs, I'll be watching it and I can help you answer. So you can invite yourself first to the a NativeScript community Slack, and then in there's the Hacking for Good channel. So if you join that channel, you can basically talk to us. So yeah, you can get help from mentors, talk to other participants, throw us some questions. Oh, and by the way, if you throw any questions to us over the course of the day today, I am planning to do a follow-up with the charities. So maybe then we could have all those questions answered by Friday, in case there is something that is missing from the specs that we had in the Trello boards. So some of you kind of like that I saw from the registration said that you just want to work alone. That's fine, but there's a bunch of you that actually said that you'd like to work in a team. And there were also teams that they were open to kind of adding additional people. So yeah, don't like you can still go ahead and still form teams. It's never too late. So definitely jump on the Hack for Good channel and talk to other people and just like bunch up together, because yeah, together you can figure out a lot more and then be able to build pretty cool applications. Just keep in mind, like don't try to just snap every single like 10 out of 10 Angular and NativeScript experts to build like one superstar team. Try to like include everyone from all possible levels, but again, it's yeah, it's your choice how you organize, and but form teams, because together it's going to be definitely more fun. And in case you just arrived and you decided, like maybe if you don't know still much about, like let's say a NativeScript, and you saw like yesterday, like hey, it's maybe I would like to join, but I don't still know that much. There's still time to learn. You could just spend a few hours to kind of figure out how NativeScript is before you kind of jump and start building it. So on our website, we have the Learning tab. So if you can go just to ngns.org/learning, and there's a bunch of things that we've shared in there. But I think the easiest one to get yourself started, if you already know a bit of Angular, there's like the courses, tutorials. There's a getting started in Playground, and also Playground is pretty much the easiest way to build application, and pretty much for the purposes of this hackathon, Playground should be perfect for what you need. So I think if you go through that tutorial, maybe it will take you 2-3 hours or something. That should prepare you enough to start building something, which is pretty cool. Next thing, so submitting the results. So the deadline is 10 a.m. on Monday, Central European time. This is so that like people who are like out, not necessarily around like the European time zone, so that they also have a bit of an evening if they want to carry on working on. But don't worry, you don't have to wait until the last minute. You can even submit like on Sunday or Saturday. It's perfectly fine, and you will still be able to change your submission before the deadline if you found a new thing or new way to update it, which is perfectly fine. And we are looking at and how to submit. So what we are going to do currently, if you go to our website and the top bar, we'll have like the agenda, learning resources, etc. The register button, it is we are going to change it to submit. So basically, probably as of Saturday or Sunday, if you click on submit, it will take you to a form that will just ask you for the right questions on how to submit it. Your project, so that we can then later on go and review it. And you can submit your project in two ways. So if you are using NativeScript Playground as part of building your application, then we will just need a link to that Playground. So inside Playground, if you press save, pretty much like every time creates a new snapshot of your project. So if you give us like the latest snapshot of your project, then we can go all use that and then review what application you built. Or if you are actually building locally using the NativeScript CLI, then you need to create a GitHub repo with the NativeScript project. That is pretty straightforward. And then obviously when you submit, it would be good if you give us a bit of an overview of what is it that we should expect, or what is that we'll be looking. And especially if you building an idea of your own, it would be good to kind of get a little bit of introduction of like what are your motivation and or what is the charge that you are building it for, so that yeah, we can get a good idea of that. But the form will have the questions for it, so don't worry. But it will be definitely good to have those things. And then obviously, like we mentioned before, there'll be prizes. So I expect a lot of really cool applications. So we'll have like 5 different categories. So we'll have like the judges' favorite. So that's something that we'll be voting for. But also we'll try to do it so that you as participants, you will be able to vote on other people's ideas, and possibly if that can make that work well, also have a prize for that. And then there will be separate prizes for like the best design, the best innovation, in terms of like, you know, how cool ideas you have, and then like best utility winner. So we also have like different chances to win the prizes. I mean, obviously this event is not all about prizes, but it's good to get a bit of a bonus, like you do something good and you get some nice prizes. Why not? And a little advice, so basically try to before you try to build something that is huge, it's probably better if you start with just a simple idea. So maybe first thing when you build an application, try to get like some of the essential parts before you expand the app, because it's better that you submit something that that simple, that works, than try to go for an overkill and then submit something that has a potential but no, that doesn't work at all. So like start simple and then expand on your project and idea as you go. Um, Building mobile applications, and it's pretty much the same thing for the web, could be frustrating. So don't give up, keep pushing. We're doing something that, you know, we're building this for the good of our community, and then for the good of like those NGOs. So like don't give up. Like and any effort always works. And honestly, every submission counts, right? Like so, if you at the end of like on Sunday you think like, well, I wanted to build like this 20 things and I only built 2, like, and you don't feel too proud of it, don't worry. Like every submission counts, because even like a tiny project could have some really cool ideas that we could then maybe reuse to kind of make the end application work. So yeah, definitely would be good to have to see every single submission, because that would just make us proud. So let's see if there's any questions that I can maybe answer. Just trying to see questions. So yeah, so basically on YouTube you can just drop us any questions that I can follow up and answer. We just have Ayo saying hi, or well, waiting from Philippines. So I hope Ayo. Hi, how are you doing? But if you don't have any questions now, you can probably just join Slack, and I will be around to answer any questions that you may have. So I'll wait for maybe a minute, and if I don't get any questions, then we can probably just wrap up, and I'll expect some cool stuff to do. Question. So, if there's any need to register other teammates for now, you don't have to. So you don't have to do it right now, but it would be good if you let us know what team you have. So like in the email that I share with you, like I shared a link with the form, so you can also update it as you go. But definitely it would be good to kind of, if you let us know what teams you have like by Friday, so that definitely would help. But there's not necessarily a must, but for sure when you're submitting a project, you have to tell us who was in your project, so that, you know, if there's prizes or something, it is fair that everybody gets a share of it, and or at very least a nice recognition for like, hey, I also work on this pretty cool app. Another question: do we need to develop for Android, iOS, or both platforms. So basically, you should be actually trying to develop for both iOS and Android. And that's also the beauty of NativeScript itself. That pretty much with this the same code, the app should be working on Android and iOS. There aren't that many crazy differences. So definitely you should be aiming to develop for both Android and iOS. However, if you have an app that for some reason just works on only one platform, don't worry, that will also accept that submission. But an app that works on both, you get bonus points. That's for sure. So yeah, good question, Nikolai. So any more? No, I think that will be it. So in case you missed it, I'll basically also share those slides on our Slack channel, and definitely the 5 links to the Trello boards. So just remember, you can go to like bit.ly/hackidea12345, clone it, talk to your teammates, don't just jump on it. It's probably good, like if you spend a little bit of time thinking and working out what you're trying to work on. Yeah, definitely worth giving a go. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see some pretty cool work, and yeah, see you on Slack.